Ice has welded Lucius's armor to his skin, and he cannot remember the last dawn that didn't begin in pain. The mist clings to his cloak like a second skin, the biting chill of early morning cutting through to the bone. Every morning, he rises before the sun, his armor cold and unyielding against his flesh. His daily routine is a relentless march, each step accompanied by the metallic clink of his breastplate as he trudges through the mud and gravel of yet another distant land. Lucius is a man forged by discipline, his life a cycle of obedience and endurance. As he tightens the leather straps of his sandals, a flicker of doubt crosses his mind, wondering how long he can continue this ceaseless journey. But then a question echoes in his mind, offering a silent challenge. What would Aurelius choose now? It is this question that pushes him forward, a whisper of philosophy that transforms his routine into something more profound. Lucius marches on, driven not just by duty, but by an insatiable hunger for meaning beyond the clamor of battle. His heart yearns for clarity, a purpose as unwavering as the northern star. Yet, amidst the chaos of war, the answer eludes him, slipping through his grasp like sand through his fingers. He seeks wisdom, a deeper understanding of himself and the world, but each day remains an echo of the last, a relentless cycle of commands and conformity. In stark contrast, there is Gaeus, his fellow soldier, his comrade in arms. Gaeus walks with a carefree air, unburdened by the weight of introspection. To him, life is a canvas of fleeting pleasures, a series of indulgences to be seized without thought. While Lucius wrestles with the echoes of unfulfilled questions, Gaeus drifts on the surface, untouched by the depths that pull Lucius under. And so, as the sun rises and sets on another day, the refrain haunts Lucius. What would Aurelius choose now? It is a beacon in his tumultuous sea of thoughts, a reminder of the discipline he must embrace to uncover the purpose he so desperately seeks. Lucius, driven by an insatiable urge to prove himself, plunges into the pursuit of accolades within the ranks. His mornings begin before dawn, the chill air biting at his skin as he practices his drills with a fervor bordering on obsession. Each swing of the sword, each calculated step, a desperate plea for recognition. He envisions himself rising above his peers, his name whispered with respect and admiration. The opportunity arises in the form of a skirmish. The enemy is a shadowy presence on the horizon, and Lucius seizes it as his moment. With every strike, he feels the surge of potential glory, the tantalizing whisper of valor. As the dust settles, his efforts are acknowledged. A commendation is bestowed upon him, a token of his victory. But as he stands there, the weight of the medal in his hand, the applause of his comrades ringing in his ears, he finds the emptiness still there, echoing louder than the cheers. The evening gathers around him, and the fire of ambition dims. Alone in his tent, he stares at the medal, the symbol of his achievement. But it feels hollow, a mere object that fails to fill the void gnawing at his core. The material gain, the fleeting recognition, dissolves in the silence of the night. The refrain returns, penetrating the quiet with its insistent question, what would Aurelius choose now? Lucius knows that this is not the path Aurelius would have chosen. The emperor's teachings whisper through the ages, a reminder that true fulfillment lies not in accolades or external validation, but in the mastery of the self, in the embrace of discipline that transcends superficial victories. The realization is a stirring within him, a call to seek something deeper, something real. Determined to fill the void with more tangible successes, Lucius redoubles his efforts. He immerses himself in the grind, pushing his body and mind to their limits. Every battle, every new medal becomes another notch on his belt. His reputation grows. He is known among his peers as one who is relentless and unstoppable. Yet with every new triumph, the emptiness inside only expands. The more Lucius achieves, the more he senses the costs accumulating around him. Nights spent in the barracks, poring over strategies, replace evenings with friends and family. The faces of loved ones fade into distant memories. Their once familiar voices now echoes in the corridors of his mind. Time, that relentless specter, marches on, indifferent to his pursuits. Moments that could have been spent in company, in laughter, or in quiet reflection slip through his grasp like sand. He finds himself alone more often than not, surrounded by the accolades he so desperately sought, yet feeling more isolated than ever. The refrain haunts him in these solitary hours. What would Aurelius choose now? It is a specter that shadows him, a constant reminder of the path he has forsaken. In the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Lucius knows, lies an alternative, a life governed not by the relentless chase for external accomplishments, but by the pursuit of inner peace and mastery over oneself. He sees the toll his ambition has exacted on his spirit. The victories once sweet now taste bitter, for they have come at the expense of what he truly cherishes: connections, love, and time. In the quiet of his chambers, surrounded by the ghosts of his choices, the question cuts deeper than any sword. What would Aurelius choose now? In the barracks, there is another soldier, a figure often overlooked amidst the clamor of ambition and conquest. His name is Gaeus. Unlike Lucius, Gaeus does not chase accolades or the fleeting glory of the battlefield. Instead, he finds fulfillment in the simplicity of his days, grounded in the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius. Gaeus rises before dawn each morning, his routine devoid of urgency, but full of intention. He tends to the camp's horses with care, savoring the quiet moments when the world is still asleep. In the dusty stillness, Gaeus contemplates the words of Aurelius with reverence. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. When evening falls, Lucius, surrounded by the trappings of success, feels a void that no amount of conquest can fill. Meanwhile, Gaeus sits by a modest fire, content with his humble meal. He finds joy in the warm glow of camaraderie with fellow soldiers, conversations untainted by ambition or pride. As Lucius broods in his chamber, the refrain returns, what would Aurelius choose now? The answer becomes ever clearer in the contrasting lives of Lucius and Gaeus. Lucius sees in Gaeus a man who has embraced the discipline of desire's restraint, whose wealth is measured not in gold or titles, but in peace of mind and the strength of simplicity. The juxtaposition is stark. Lucius, burdened by the weight of his aspirations, and Gaeus, liberated by the absence of them. In this mirror, Lucius sees the life he might have led had he chosen the path of Aurelius. Lucius, torn between the life he's living and the one he envies, finally approaches Gaeus. He finds him sitting by the barracks fire, a serene figure amidst the chaos, polishing his armor with the same care and attention he gives to his thoughts. "What is your secret, Gaeus?" Lucius asks, his voice a mixture of desperation and curiosity. "How do you find happiness in this life of relentless demands and scarce rewards?" Gaeus pauses his work, a gentle smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He looks at Lucius, not with pity, but with understanding, an understanding that speaks to years spent in contemplation and acceptance. "I just didn't ask for so much," he replies simply. In that moment, Lucius feels the weight of his burdens lift, however briefly. The words linger in the air, wrapping around him like the cold Roman mist, cutting through the fog of his ambitions. The refrain echoes once more in his mind. What would Aurelius choose now? And suddenly, Lucius knows. Aurelius would choose contentment, the path of least desire. The discipline that Marcus Aurelius embraced was not the punishment of denial, but the liberation through simplicity. It was the ability to find fullness in what is already at hand, to cultivate a garden of the mind that flourishes without the need for more. In that realization, Lucius sees the world anew, a place where happiness is not a prize to be won, but a state to be embraced. The lesson Lucius learned that day in the fields of his own mind is a lesson for you too. It is the Stoic principle of Amor, Fati, or the love of one's fate. Marcus Aurelius summarized it succinctly. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. In embracing what is, rather than longing for what is not, we find a peace that cannot be disturbed by the ever-changing tides of fortune. This is not resignation to a lesser life, but an active engagement with the life that is yours. It's recognizing that the discomfort we often flee from is not an enemy, but a teacher. Every challenge, every hardship, is an opportunity to practice the virtue of acceptance and to find serenity in the present moment. So when faced with the trials of your own existence, ask yourself, what would Aurelius choose now? And perhaps, like Lucius, you'll discover that the answer is not in striving for more, but in finding contentment right where you are. Embrace your fate, for in its acceptance lies true freedom. In the quietude of acceptance, we uncover the strength to endure and the wisdom to understand. Marcus Aurelius, burdened with the weight of an empire, turned inward to find clarity amidst chaos. He embraced discipline not as a mark of suffering, but as a path to liberation, reminding us that within our struggle lies our salvation. So, when life's trials seem insurmountable, pose the question, what would Aurelius choose now? And perhaps the answer will guide you to a peace that defies circumstance. Thank you for journeying with us. Subscribe for new Stoic wisdom every day as we continue to seek understanding amidst the noise and find strength in the teachings of those who walked before us. Consider the winter that followed, when fever swept the camp and took men the sword never could. Lucius knelt beside a dying comrade whose name he had barely known, holding a cup of water to cracked lips that could no longer drink. In that hollow-eyed face, he saw the truth no commendation had ever spoken, that the body he had drilled to exhaustion, the frame he had hardened for glory, was only borrowed clay, owed back to the earth without warning. The metals in his chest could not be carried across that threshold. The rank he had bled for would be reassigned before his pyre grew cold. He watched the breath leave the man like mist off a river, there and then simply gone, and understood that he had been spending the one thing he could never earn more of, not gold, not honor, but hours, as though the supply were endless. Death, he realized, was not the enemy at the border. It walked beside him in the ranks, patient, unbribable, asking only what he had done with the light he was given. Short texto natila. 1. Discipline is pain. 2. Aurelius daily challenge. 3. Thrive in discomfort, term and calm. Full video on the channel plus hashtag Stoicism.